he's talking to someone he's trying to court / sleep with. And he's like, yeah, I'm doing a public appearance later, getting paid like 15 notes. I think he got paid $100. But going to your point earlier about lying, I think you lie to the degree that your ego can't handle telling the truth.
After that car accident, I did decide I'm going to be truthful with myself, because any embellishment that I used to do, or any omitting or deflating, I just wanted to stop pretending. I felt like some of my life was pretend life, and then some of it was real life. And I decided that was never going to be a fulfilling life.
Next Level Nation, welcome back to another episode of Next Level University, where we help you level up your life, your love, your health, and your wealth. Today, for episode number 1868, do you want comfort or the truth? It really sucks when you feel like you're making someone feel bad. We did a group coaching call, and I mentioned this a little bit in one of our previous episodes, but I want to tell the full story. Because if you're somebody out there who wants what's best for people, you probably feel this way maybe more often than you'd like. So after group coaching, somebody reached out to me. And they said, hey, have you ever paid to speak? And I said, no, I think the closest ever was I went to a podcast conference and I paid for all my travel, but my ticket was free. So technically it cost me money to get there. But no, I didn't pay to get on stage. And they said, well, I have this potential opportunity to pay to speak, and it might be a really good opportunity for me to get clients. What are your thoughts? And I thought about it, and I was like, oh, man. And I have a really good relationship with this person. I've talked to this person. This person's a client. I've talked to this person many times.
Huge fan.
Huge fan. Great human being. Just a wonderful human being. And that right there is one of the reasons I feel bad, because I don't want to, if this person has had experiences where they brought ideas to people and people shit on their ideas, I don't want to be that guy. And I'm not doing it from a place of lack of belief. If anything, I'm doing it from a place of maybe higher awareness in a given arena. So I thought about it and I sent an initial message back and I said, well, how much is it? How much do you have to pay? How big's the audience? Just give me some details so I'm not just throwing words out. Like, let me get some details here so I can really, really think about it.
The deets.
Give me the deets. And the person sent the details back, and I was making dinner, and I was like, I got to send an audio. I got to fire an audio over here. And I said, honestly, no. No, I feel like this for you would probably be a giant waste of money. And I don't think you should do it. If I was in your shoes where you are today, I would not do it. I just don't think it's worth it. Now, I know it feels like a lot of progress in a very short period of time. Understand, completely understand. This is something you want. You want to speak on stages. I understand. I wouldn't do it. And it was like a 4-minute audio message. Because this is the client who somebody said, you really need to raise your prices. And this person's never done coaching before in this capacity. So they need to get some reps in. They need to build belief. The last thing they need to do is add a 0, and then they may never coach again after that. That's a lot. So I said that too. I said, I just think this person is kind of not taking advantage of you, but I think they're painting a very positive picture of something that's probably not going to happen. And I want to give you the real truth, because for me, I don't have a horse in the race. I don't make any money either way, whether you go or you don't go. I don't make $1. Whether you get 100 clients or 0 clients, I don't make $1. It doesn't affect me at all. It affects you. And I want to be somebody who can look at it from that perspective. And after, I said, I'm happy to hop on a free call, totally free. I don't care. Here's my calendar. Let's book some time. And I sent a message after. I said, hey, I'm sorry if that came off as kind of me being a dick. I just don't want to see you get taken advantage of. I don't want to see you get hurt. And honestly, I wish somebody told me what I just told you in the beginning. And they responded and said, no, I value your opinion so much. I always want the truth from you. And it was wonderful. It was a wonderful conversation. But here's the downside of having higher awareness. You can either choose to say something or choose not to say something. And then the question is, are you willing to put up with the potential backlash of saying something? And you out there, whether you are watching or listening, do you want the truth or do you want comfort? It might have been comforting for me to say, yeah, go do it. I mean, maybe you'll get 10 clients. You can really get your coaching practice off to a momentous start, and I hope the best. I very easily could have said that. I think that's more comforting, but I don't think that's the truth. I don't think that's the truth at all. Second story, quickly. It's mentioned the Lincoln Lawyer. Great show on Netflix. Spoiler alert for season 2 or 3, whatever season it is. There's one of the lawyers is dating one of the other lawyers, and they're in a relationship at this point. And it's the main character and a female lawyer. The female lawyer was supposed to tell one of her clients that her husband was out on bail, and she didn't. And the husband ended up murdering the wife. And the lawyer went to meet with her partner, the other lawyer, and she was looking for comfort. And being a lawyer, he gave her the truth. He said, yeah, you're really Jeff that one. In other words. And she got very mad at him, and he couldn't understand why. Because in that moment, she did not want the truth. She wanted comfort. She knows the truth. That's why she wanted comfort. So maybe that's a deeper part of the conversation. If you know the truth, maybe you want comfort to the place where you can reveal the truth to yourself. If you want comfort, maybe you need the truth, because if you lean into comfort, you might end up in some really less than ideal situations. That's my monologue to start the episode. Anything you want to add, or you want to just get out of here? I feel like I wrapped it up nicely with a bow.
Amy posted the growth zones in Next Level Nation recently. It's 3 circles. The outer layer, the outermost layer is anxiety zone. Then there's the growth zone, and then the inner layer is the comfort zone. So if someone's in the comfort zone, what you're saying is they probably need more truth. If someone's in the anxiety zone already, what they want is comfort so that they can face the truth.
Yeah.
I'd say that's very sound. It's a very sound framework, and it makes sense because the problem is, and this is really challenging in coaching, is people pretend to be in the comfort zone. When someone shows up all macho and they're like, yeah, I'm killing it, and I'm the man or I'm the woman, you push them. I tend to push them harder.
Mm-mm.
But if that deep down behind the scenes, if they're actually in the anxiety zone, overwhelmed, feeling terrible about themselves, but hiding that pushing actually pushes them too far. And I realized that the hard way. So I do agree with the principle. I think it's hard to know which one when someone's putting on a facade. And a lot of times they are.
Well, how do you know about yourself? This is why asking, do you want support? Are you looking for a shoulder, or are you looking for strategy? Is great when somebody comes to you. But I think you shouldn't do anything. You can do whatever the hell you want. You can also go to someone and say, hey, Alan, I was wondering if I could run something by you. I'm not looking for strategy. I'm not looking for you to solve my problems. I just kind of need a shoulder. I need to get this out. I need to vent for a little bit. Versus just me showing up and then you potentially trying to solve my problems. And then me resenting you.
Yeah.
That becomes a whole freaking thing. So as much as you can do it on the end of the receiver of somebody else's feedback, you can also do it as the giver of the feedback.
It all is contextual too. So anyone listening or watching this, you're here for self-improvement. You're here to reach your potential. You're here to level up your life, love, health, and wealth. So candor and truth and accurate thinking and being pushed, that's one of the things that I think is interesting. I've had clients that listen to the episodes every single day, and I can see a huge uptick in motivation. It's very palpable, for lack of better phrasing. I can tell when someone's not listening anymore. That's kind of wild to think about. But what I've found happens with our listeners is when they're really feeling good and rocking and rolling, they've got momentum, they're in it, they're doing it, they love NLU. And then when they're stuck in any form of shame, or they lose momentum, or they take a big L, or they're not feeling very good, or they get sick, they don't want to listen to NLU, because NLU is it's constantly pushing people to be better, get better, do better, get better, do better, be better, get better, do better. And sometimes people just want to like take a minute.
Well, I understand.
And I totally understand. That said, unfortunately, and I could be wrong about this, so I don't think that I am, is when you show up, even when you are struggle bussing, it's almost like the people who need it most are the least inclined. So here's what I've found that's difficult about this. If someone comes to me and they want a shoulder, usually they need a strategy. If someone who comes and they want a strategy, usually they need a shoulder. It's almost what you want and what you need is almost never the same. And I know that's not where you wanted to go with this episode necessarily, but what you want and what you need is almost never the same. There's someone I'm thinking of right now who wants tactics. And deep down, what they really need to do is face the fact that they have very little to no self-discipline. And if they fixed that, it takes humility to own that. It takes courage and humility to own that. If they sat there and said, you know what, honestly, I have no self-discipline. I am so lazy. I had a client earlier. You know who you are. Shout out to you. I asked her, what are you struggling with? And she was super honest. She said, I'm lazy. She said, I struggle with, I said, what do you tie your self-esteem to? Keep it anonymous. She said, male validation. I'm lazy. I definitely tie it to the money in my bank account. I definitely tie it to one other thing that was status related. And I sat there and I was like, you're super freaking honest. Most people don't own that. Most people that are lazy are the last people to say, hey, I'm kind of lazy. And then you've got people who are wicked hardworking who are like, yeah, I think I'm kind of lazy. It's always that sort of inverse thing. But to bring this tangible, I think all progress starts with the truth. And I do understand it's contextual. I do. There's 3 types of lies. You can inflate, deflate, or omit. I didn't take a course. I watched a speech about lying, and it was actually pretty in-depth, and the psychology of lying and all that kind of stuff. Lie to ourselves, lie to each other, that kind of thing. And everyone does, but to what extent? I've talked about the story where I embellished. I said I did 5 laps, and then I'm like, sweetheart, I don't know why I just lied to you. I only did 4. Just embellished. Oh, 5, round up, fake a lap. Stupid. You inflate, you deflate, or you omit, usually depending on what helps you belong. Usually it's in the opposite direction of whatever's causing you insecurity. So if you're insecure about being better than, you deflate. If you're insecure about being less than, you inflate. And if you are afraid to get close to people, you omit information, or you're ashamed of it. So you just like pretend that you never did that thing or whatever it is. But ultimately, if you do want to improve yourself, no matter what, it has to start with an admittance, some sort of an admit, I am kind of lazy and I want to change that. It's an and, not an or, though. You have to say, I am kind of lazy and I want to be more hardworking. Boom. We can work with that all day. But if you don't admit it and you keep pretending you're disciplined when you're not, which is what a lot of people do, and you keep running from the fact that you're not disciplined, you basically will never solve the root problem, and you'll keep doing these surface level fixes that never actually do it. And a good metaphor for this is like people who get addicted to plastic surgery when in reality they need mental health and self-love, that kind of thing. And so, but when it comes to other people, how do you know when to tell truth and when not to? That's something that I've struggled with a lot, because when people come to me, I want to help, and I think that comes from a very genuine place. However, in coaching, I know that when I put the coach hat on, you're looking for a strategy. I'm a strategist. That's great. But sometimes you have to take that hat off and just be there and listen and try to understand. One thing that's really, really challenging is when you know the root cause of the issue more than the other person. And you told me this, Kev. You said it's hard for people to believe that you know more about them than they know about them.
100%.
But you're at that position now where you know more about people than they know about themselves a lot of the times, not because you're so special, but because this is all we do.
Yeah, but it's a very...
NLU listener, what is happening? I just wanted to jump in here and let you know, if you want to get to the next level faster, we have a free virtual monthly meetup at the first Thursday of every month. You can connect with like-minded people and become a bigger part of this amazing global community. The link to register will be in the show notes.
I think this is a common mistake when giving feedback. You give feedback in the way and to the level that you could handle it, not in the way and to the level that the person could handle it. Imagine if I gave feedback to people the way I receive feedback about fitness. Imagine that. Yeah. Imagine if I gave other people the feedback that I've given you. Nah, not good.
Yeah.
Not good.
Yeah, it's so true.
I think, but it makes sense that if you don't know how unique... Alan could say to me, Kev, you're fat. Whatever. I'm not, but he could say that to me and it wouldn't affect me. I've had people say that to me.
Well, I did one point say, Kev, this is next level you, not dad bod you.
Yes.
What the fuck are we
doing
here, man?
That was nothing compared to you used to be the guy and now you're not the guy anymore. It was like, oh, shit. Right.
Well, that was with vulnerability.
Yes,
tears flew on that one too.
Yeah.
So it's not just what you say, it's how you say it. And it has to be intentions that are pure. I'm not saying this for me. I'm saying this because I think that it will help you.
But there's so many layers to that.
I know. That truth and feedback is really hard. I think the world would be better if we were more honest with ourselves and each other, but you have to do it right, and it's very challenging.
Well, you got to start with honest with you before you can get honesty from someone else, I think.
Yeah.
Because I think that's what ego is. When you say something to me and I've never thought about it, my initial thing's going to be no. No, I don't think so. I'm not disorganized. What do you mean? I can always find my shit.
One more layer to this too. Very powerful conversation. Very grateful for this. I've had people say things to me to give me feedback, and I'll get triggered, and they think I'm triggered because it's true. No, I'm triggered because you actually think that there's no way that's true. That's inaccurate. And by the way, I've reassessed myself 8,000 ways with a bunch of different people. So it's not like the first time I've looked in the mirror. And the fact that you think you're accurate, that's what I'm triggered by your ignorance. But they think, oh, why does it bother you then? No, it bothers me because if you think that of me, our relationship is built on falsity.
Yeah.
So truth is we could do episodes on this all day. Are you inflating? Are you deflating? Are you omitting? Where are you inflating, deflating, or omitting? I think we all have to start with self. I really, I'm telling you, after my car accident at 26, and at some point I really should. I realized this with Amy earlier. Shout out to Amy. You had told your story pretty in depth, and I think I should really tell mine to the listeners because I know it's been a long time.
Let's do it.
But yeah, that would be great. So, but after that car accident, I did decide I'm going to be truthful with myself because any embellishment that I used to do or any omitting or deflating, I just wanted to stop pretending. I felt like some of my life was pretend life and then some of it was real life. And I decided that was never going to be a fulfilling life. And so I think when it comes to truth, you need to understand where the other person's at, not only in the moment. If someone just came back from a funeral, you're not going to say, hey, Kev, what's the deal, man? Why haven't you been in the gym? Nor is that your place anyway. So you have to know where the relationship is at. I've known Kevin for a long time. We built a business together. He's a business owner with me, so I can give him more feedback of, dude, what are we doing? So it's contextual based on his goals, his level of personal development, his level of insecurity, his level of self-belief and self-worth, my relationship with him. It's based on the context and his state in the moment. If he comes crying after a funeral, I'm not going to hammer him with his gym issues, right? And the permission that you give me in advance by asking the question. So a lot of people ask questions and they don't actually want the real answer. And this is what social dynamics is. EQ and IQ are very different. And I think this is EQ stuff. This is being able to read someone's somatic expression. When I coach, but I like to have the other person on camera. And lately there have been a few people that had bad internet. One of my clients is in Dubai and she had an internet issue. And we FaceTimed in tandem with the share screen, and I really needed to see her face because I I need to see somatic expression when I say certain things to see where we're at. And so you have to read a lot of cues before you. I think some people are very brash and they just kind of come in like a wrecking ball. And I have a friend of mine that I grew up with that it was a wrecking ball. He would just give harsh truth 24/7, 365. And he was overly dominant and quite ignorant, to be honest. And half the time he didn't know what the hell he was talking about. And then you've got other people who never give a lick of truth to anyone ever, and they never challenge anyone or anything, but those are the social cowards, and trust me, I resonate with that at times.
Same.
So it's very hard to find center on this.
I've been saying this a lot lately. I don't know what to say in times like this. I've been saying that a lot when people reach out and they share something that's, I don't want to say beyond my comprehension, but beyond my ability to add value to this situation, just because I don't want to give any feedback that might not be what is it?
I had a joke come up in my head.
What is it?
I have what do I do if my little toe looks like candy corn?
That's, I can't even fathom.
You don't know what
that
to
would
say
be like.
in moments like this?
Yes, I pull out mine and say, we're brothers. Candy corn brothers. Don't even worry about it.
I didn't mean to. I just continue with
Good.
what you were saying.
I was thinking of something earlier. Again, if you've seen Eastbound and Down, it's a very low vibe graphic show. One of my favorite comedies ever of all. I can't watch it anymore because I just feel gross. I really do. But
I never saw. I don't.
High school, you would have loved it. College, you would have loved it.
That's when you know it's a low vibe movie. You know,
he's a washed up.
You back at 15,
he's a washed up Major League Baseball player who is the phys ed teacher at the high school he went to. And
I already know the whole movie now.
No, Brutal. It's a series. It's a series.
Oh, okay.
And trust me, you don't. It goes places. But he's talking to someone he's trying to court / sleep with, and he's like, yeah, I'm doing a public appearance later, getting paid like 15 notes. I think he got paid $100. But going to your point earlier about lying, I think you lie to the degree that your ego can't handle telling the truth. Imagine if he said, yeah, I was looking for 15 notes, but they're giving me $100 and a coupon. That sucks.
What's 15 notes mean?
15 hunge. Note, a note, C note is a hundo piece.
All right, I don't speak lingo, son.
Well, you know me, I don't get out of bed for any less than a Jibo. A Jibo is 10 notes.
Yeah, got it.
I'm totally kidding. I had a point to make with all that, but I didn't make it, and it's gone now.
I know we got to jump, so
we do have to jump.
The question that I would have is, I had a client once who said, I want you to be as hard on me as you are on yourself. And I told Emilia, and Emilia said she would die. She was being playful with it. But the truth is, all of us have to be, okay, if you're in the NBA, the coaches are harder. Imagine an NBA coach coaching 7-year-olds screaming in their face.
Not good.
That's not good. But imagine an NBA coach being like, don't worry about it. No big deal. I mean, yeah, $10 million a year, not a big deal. Like, yeah, so we lost the championship and all that merchandising, and we basically just lost $50 million. Don't worry about it. You forgot to tie your shoes today. It's cool. Everything's contextual, man.
Of course.
If you're the freaking business owner of NLU, I have to be harder on you by definition. But I can't. You're not gonna. You ever see one of those coaches who takes middle school football too seriously, and they're screaming at the kids? Yeah, it's like, dude, what are we doing here, right? But if it's the Super Bowl, you might get a little fired up. It is what it is. So it all depends. I think the level of truth you give yourself and others is depending on the context and the circumstance. And I think some of us are too easy on ourselves. Some of us are too hard on ourselves. Some of us are too easy on others, and some of us are too hard on others. And I think we can all get closer and closer and closer to center. So that's my thesis for this.
My thesis would be the way you treat others is not necessarily the way you treat yourself is not necessarily the way you treat others. Because you are different than everyone, and everybody is different than you. And the way I talk to myself about fitness is not the way I should talk to somebody else. Maybe the way I give advice that I would give advice to me is not the way I would give advice to somebody else. I think emotional intelligence is a huge thing. We don't do enough episodes on that. I don't think I know anything about it.
You do.
But I don't know what I know.
Yeah, I know.
It's like, what am I going to talk about?
Very last thing, promise. Constructive and destructive. It was constructive for Kevin to say, hey, man, that ain't it. You're kind of out of shape. You're looking a little fat. Like, that was actually constructive for me. But that would not be constructive to someone who really does deal with fat shaming and bullied and who is overweight, right? So you really do have to ask, okay, is this going to be constructive or destructive? I think the advice that you gave her in the context of the opening story, I think that was very constructive. And I think you helped her dodge a bullet.
I appreciate
And I think that's really powerful. But she's also amazing and able to handle it, and that's why she's reaching out too. So in a way, it's very important to understand where the other person's at, what level of truth, how you say it, and whether or not it's constructive or destructive is ultimately the goal.
I don't know if we could ever do a full episode on this, but I was just thinking intention is great, but you can't use it as an exit strategy when you screw up. You go, no, it wasn't my intention. Whatever. It doesn't matter. That wasn't your intent. I appreciate the fact that that might make for a cool episode. I just don't know what the point of it would be.
To quote Jurassic Park 3, he said, "Some of the worst things in the world have been done with the best intentions."
Ooh, that's powerful. Then he got eaten off the pooper, or was that a different one?
That was a different one.
Damn. I know that part. I know that part. All right, we got to go. Next Level Nation, if you have not joined our private Facebook group, Next Level Nation, and you're looking for a group of amazing humans that are into growth and self-awareness and self-improvement and getting rid of ego and all that happy jazz, we'll have the link in the show notes. As always, we love you. We appreciate you. Grateful for each and every one of you. And at NLU, we do not have fans. We have family. We will talk to you all tomorrow.
Keep it constructive. Next Level Nation.